You started this whole thing because you wanted something different. Not more hours, not another boss, not another alarm clock yanking you out of sleep before you're ready. You wanted money that moved while you rested. Money that showed up whether you were at the grocery store, at the beach, or just sitting on your couch doing absolutely nothing. That dream is real. That desire is completely valid. And the fact that you're here right now tells me you're not the kind of person who just accepts the grind and moves on. You actually believe something better exists. But here is what nobody warned you about. Most passive income streams do not die with a bang. They die quietly, slowly, like a plant you forgot to water. One day you look over and it is just gone. And the worst part is you often do not even realize it happened until you have already spent months, sometimes years, pouring time and energy into something that was never going to work the way you imagined it before we go any further. If you are serious about actually building income that sustains itself without burning you out, there is a program linked in the description below this video. The people who act on it now are the ones who stop repeating this painful cycle. The ones who wait usually come back months later wishing they had moved sooner. This is not for everyone. If you are comfortable staying exactly where you are, that program is not for you. But if something in your gut is telling you there is a smarter way, that link is worth your attention. Now let us get into why this keeps happening. Picture this. Someone discovers a passive income idea online. Maybe it is selling digital products. Maybe it is an investment strategy. Maybe it is building some kind of automated content system. They feel the electricity of possibility. They stay up until 2 in the morning reading everything they can find. They feel like they are finally onto something. They take action, which already puts them ahead of 90% of people. And then 3 or 4 months later, they are back where they started, maybe worse, because now they are exhausted, their confidence is shaken, and they have a little less money than before. This story is not rare. It is actually the most common passive income story in existence. Here is the first reason it fails, and this one is going to sting a little. Most people build passive income on top of activity, not on top of systems. There is a massive difference between those two things. Activity means you are personally doing something to generate each result. A system means the result happens without your direct participation. When most people set up a so-called passive income stream, what they actually build is a second job they do not get paid hourly for. They create a content channel that needs constant uploading to stay alive. They create a product that needs constant promotion to keep selling. They create an investment position that needs constant monitoring to stay safe. The moment they stop, everything stops. That is not passive income. That is just freelance work with extra steps. The people who genuinely crack this understand one thing deeply. The goal is to engineer the engine, not to be the engine. Every hour you spend being the engine is an hour you are not building something that runs without you. And the difference between those two paths is measured in years of your life. Now here is where it gets even more uncomfortable. Most people who fail at passive income are actually smart, hard-working people. They research, they plan, they execute, but they are executing the wrong blueprint. They are using information that was designed for a very different era, a very different market, or a very different level of starting resources than they actually have. What worked 5 years ago in digital products or content monetization looks almost nothing like what works right now. The strategies that get recycled across YouTube videos and blog posts are often outdated by the time they reach you. You are not failing because you are not trying hard enough. You are failing because you are running an old map in a new territory. Think about how that feels for a second. You did everything right by the instructions you were given, and still it collapsed. That quiet, creeping doubt that maybe you are just not cut out for this. That maybe passive income is something that only works for a certain kind of person with a certain kind of head start. That feeling is one of the most painful things a person can carry, and it is completely unfair because the problem was never you. Let us talk about the second reason passive income quietly fails. Underestimating the compounding cost of small leaks. Here is a simple truth that most people skip past. Every passive income stream has overhead. Not just financial overhead, but mental overhead, time overhead, and attention overhead. And these leaks are tiny at first. A few hours of maintenance here, a small recurring fee there, a piece of your focus that you have to redirect every couple of days. Individually, each of these leaks feels insignificant, but over time they compound into something that starts to feel like a part-time job you never applied for. And because the leaks are small and spread out, you do not even notice them draining you until you are already exhausted. The people who build income streams that actually last, the ones you hear about quietly making money in the background while living full lives, they solve for the leaks before they become floods. They design the overhead out of the system before they launch it. They ask not just will this make money, but what does this cost me in reality, not just in theory. This is authority that comes from watching hundreds of different passive income setups succeed or collapse. The failure patterns are almost always the same. and the success patterns are equally consistent. The difference is almost never talent or luck, it is architecture. Third reason. The gap between the promise and the patience required. Every passive income strategy has what you could call a trust-building period. During that period, you are putting in more than you are getting out. For some strategies, this period is weeks. For others, it is many months. And here's what happens to most people during that trust-building period. Life does not pause. Bills keep coming. Doubt starts whispering. They see someone else online claiming results in a fraction of the time, and they start to question whether their approach is even working. So they pivot. They try something new. They restart the trust-building clock from zero. Again and again. This is called shiny object syndrome, and it is the silent killer of every passive income journey that looked promising from the outside. The tragedy here is that most people who quit were actually closer to the turning point than they realized. They were weeks away from the moment where the work they had already done would have started paying them back, but because there was no way to see that from where they were standing, they walked away. Imagine planting seeds in soil, watering them every day, seeing nothing for a month, and then giving up 2 days before the first sprout breaks through the surface. That is what most passive income failure actually looks like at the structural level. Now here is where we shift. Because everything you just heard is the painful truth of why it fails, but there is an equally powerful truth on the other side. And it is this. When passive income actually works, when it is built correctly on real systems with realistic timelines and properly managed overhead, it does not just change your bank account, it changes your entire relationship with time. Picture waking up in the morning with no alarm, not because you are unemployed, not because you are retired at 75, but because the systems you built over the last several months are generating income that covers your life. You check your phone not out of anxiety but out of curiosity. You see transactions that happened while you slept. You see income that arrived while you were having dinner with people you love. That is not a fantasy for a select few. That is the documented reality of people who built this the right way, with the right architecture, in the right order. The difference between those people and everyone who failed is not intelligence. It is not starting capital in most cases. It is the blueprint they used and whether that blueprint was built for where they actually were, not where someone else started from. And here is what real passive income eventually unlocks that nobody talks about enough. It is not just the money. It is the absence of dread. The absence of that Sunday night feeling where your stomach tightens because Monday is coming and another week of trading your hours for someone else's goals is about to begin. That feeling going quiet is worth more than most people can put a number on. Studies on human stress and financial anxiety consistently show that the feeling of having no control over your income is one of the heaviest psychological burdens a person can carry. Remove that weight and everything else in your life gets lighter. Your health improves. Your relationships improve. Your thinking becomes clearer because you are not constantly operating in survival mode. Numbers matter here too. The average person who successfully builds a real passive income stream that generates even $2,000 extra per month consistently over a 10-year period with that income reinvested smartly is not just looking at an extra $24,000 per year. They are looking at a complete structural transformation of their financial life. The compounding works for you instead of against you. Time becomes your ally instead of your enemy. And every year that passes makes the position stronger, not more fragile. That is what this is really about. Not the short-term win, the long-term shift. This brings me to something important. If everything you heard today landed, if you felt yourself nodding, if you recognized your own story somewhere in what was described, that feeling is worth acting on. That recognition is actually rare. Most people go their whole lives seeing themselves clearly for just a moment and then letting that moment pass without doing anything different. The program in the description below this video exists for people who are done watching the moment pass. It is for people who are ready to stop building on the wrong blueprint and finally understand how to create income that actually runs without them. The information in that program is not recycled theory. It is built around what is working right now for real people in real time. You already know what staying the same costs you. You have felt it. The only real question is whether you are willing to trade that cost for something that could change the trajectory of everything. The link is there. The decision is yours. And the best time to make it is before another month goes by that looks exactly like the last one.